నమస్కారం. వ్యూస్ ఛానల్కి స్వాగతం. వైజయంతితో మాటామంతి కార్యక్రమంలో రకరకాల కార్యక్రమాలు చేస్తూ ఉన్నాం. కళావంతుల కుటుంబానికి చెందిన యశోద ఠాకూర్ గారిని చేశాం, ఎల్వి శ్రీరామ్ గారు, ఇట్లా అలాగే వేగంగా ఉండి కిలిమాంజారో ఎక్కిన శారద గారితో చేశాం, ఆకాశవాణికి సంబంధించిన వాళ్ళతో చేశాం. ఇలా రకరకాలుగా చేస్తుండగానే ఇవాళ ఇంకొక ప్రత్యేకమైన కార్యక్రమానికి రూపకల్పన చేశాం. అదే ఫ్యాషన్ డిజైనర్గా ఉన్నటువంటి సౌరవ్దాస్. అతనితోటి ప్రత్యేకంగా ఇవాళ మాటామంతి. అతను అంతర్జాతీయ స్థాయిలో చాలామందికి డిజైనింగ్ చేస్తున్నాడు. డిగ్రీలో జెనెటిక్స్, బయోకెమిస్ట్రీ, బయోటెక్నాలజీ కాంబినేషన్తో పూర్తి చేసిన తర్వాత ఢిల్లీలో నిఫ్టీలో మాస్టర్స్ డిగ్రీలో గోల్డ్ మెడల్ సాధించారు. ఈ డ్రెస్ డిజైనింగ్ చేయడంలో తనకి రవివర్మ పెయింటింగ్స్ అట్లాంటివన్నీ తనకి అంటే ఒక ఉత్సాహాన్ని ఇస్తున్నాయని, అలాగే కొత్తగా భారతీయ సంప్రదాయానికి సంబంధించిన వాటితోటి డిజైన్ చేస్తున్నారు. సినీ నటులు అందరూ కూడా అంటే విద్యాబాలను, శోభన లాంటి వాళ్ళందరూ సౌరవ్ చేత ప్రత్యేకంగా చేయించుకుంటున్నారు. అయితే సౌరవ్ బెంగాలీ పిల్లాడు, తెలుగులో మాట్లాడలేడు. తెలుగులో కానీ ఇంగ్లీష్లో కానీ క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతూ ఉంటాను, అతను ఇంగ్లీష్లో సమాధానం చెప్తాడు. హలో, నమస్తే.
Namaste, ma'am.
And welcome to our program.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thanks to the viewers.
And I introduced you in Telugu. I told all the things about you. And first thing I want to say about your education. From the beginning education. That means from the first class to PG.
Oh, okay.
We want to know. And at the same time about your parents also.
Okay, sure. So, regarding my education, as ma'am has said, I am from Assam. So, I brag myself a boy from Assam, and my upbringing happened in a very suburban town.
In Assam?
In Assam only. So, there is a small town called Namding. So, it falls in the Upper Assam region. And I was been brought up there in a inclusive joint family amongst a lot of uncle and aunts. My grandparents were there. So we were total 16 in number, including my cousins. So though I don't have any sibling, but I have never felt that I am deprived of the compassion of how a brother or a sister, like how siblings usually grow up. So I have always been the privilege to being with my cousins, like son and daughters of my uncles. So that single child, kind of thought or it never prevailed in me. So I have had a very, democratic kind of an upbringing within the family. My parents, my grandparents were there, as you have asked me about my education. My primary education started, I went to a normal school, like I went for nursery, kindergartens. Then my school education was from KV, Kendriya Vidyalaya. So it was under the central government, So that was the, the available good options in that particular suburb. So I didn't even had a choice to go to a better school or, but it was better in many ways. I am very thankful to the kind of teachers, the kind of the upbringing, the kind of the education and moral values they have taught us. I think, it was pretty much, how to put it? I was very happy being a part of a particular town, like suburb. Like when I grew up, I understood that, growing up in a smaller town or a village kinds of make you more sensitized to nature, and also you do understand the value of human relationship,
and at the same time nature also,
which I think a lot of people lack in an urban upbringing. So I'm very thankful, whatever has happened so far happened for a good reason. And so my parents were very much into classical arts and music. They have encouraged me. They have
which Hindustani or
mostly Hindustani genre, as Carnatic style of music is more towards the Dravidian region. like up in the north, it's mostly Hindustani which prevails. So my family, like my grandfather was a Hindustani vocalist, like classical singer from Lucknow Gharana. So though he was into railway services, but I have always seen him singing, in his harmonium.
Okay.
His sisters were also into music. My uncle, my paternal uncle, I mean, he plays sitar. One of the uncle plays tabla. My father also used to sing. My mother knows Odissi. So,
Yours is musical family.
yeah, absolutely. And I think, there is a say amongst a lot of communities that Bengalis ko to art and culture bachpan se aata hai. So this is
Here one thing I want to ask, what about Ravindra Sangeet?
yeah,
Because
I
he's
mean,
Bengali.
I love Ravindra Sangeet, and Gito Bitan was a part of my upbringing, you can say. I've seen, there was a huge noble sort of a book like Gito Bitan, which everybody would sing. My aunt is also a very good singer, my grandfather. So I've seen everybody singing. We have a room at home which is only devoted to keeping musical instruments and just mattresses where we sit
Yes,
and
yes.
sing. So I mean
Dhaka classical music stays.
exactly. So in terms of entertainment, we have very less exposure and opportunities over there in smaller towns. So these were the only way we could entertain each other. Like we would have some small bathurk at home. We would call some musician or people whom we know who are into art and music, rasikas. We would call them, sit, enjoy.
Yes.
That's what would happen. Any kind of festival at home, any kind of puja, we would look up to some opportunities where we can actually sing and dance. So this was always been there, and I'm so lucky that my parents have encouraged me to even pursue cultural co-curricular activities along with my education. They never asked me to compromise on it. That was always a priority. But along with it, I have learned Hindustani music. They have sent me to a very good guru since
Okay.
a very tender age.
Assam only or
In
in
Assam, in
Okay.
Assam, and that like I'm talking about 90s. I'm 91 born, so I remember being a kid. My father, there were very less opportunities. There weren't good roads. Nowadays it is so accessible for people to even travel by road, and that was the time when only people would travel by train mostly, and that too very fewer options.
Yes, yes.
Maybe weekly train or this and that. I've seen my father taking initiative, to take me to Guwahati, which is the capital, at least to, for some good workshops, because most of the gurus from Lucknow, from Kolkata, they usually come to a capital for workshops and, monthly workshop, yearly workshop. So, I mean, my parents have also given a lot, in terms of me getting a better education or a better training. So, my father was very devoted in that. I mean, he more than me, he was more encouraging that beta to musician banega ya fir sangeet seekhna hai isko. So, I mean, yeah, I appreciate all those things. Though my mother was
Tell your father's and mother's names.
Okay, my father's name is Biplab Kumar Das and my mother's name is Namita Das. So, I mean, yeah, and my mother was like, very supportive in every possible way. I would play with clay. They have never asked me to drop it, go study. They would rather encourage me, no, the proportion isn't right, the arm should be little longer or the face should be more rounder or
Perfect
oval.
anatomy.
Exactly. So they have even encouraged me learning fine arts. So being a student of fine arts, that also happened along with school. I used to go for fine arts classes in the weekends. And I pursued fine arts, 8 years of diploma course from Shurnandan Bharati, which is a premier college run by the Vishwabharati University, Bolpur. So not only painting in terms of exploring various medium, charcoal to oil paints to earth colors. Also, they have taught us clay modeling, playing with the clays, and I was been always fascinated with this nuances of, education. Rather going to a field with a bat or a ball. I was like never into cricket or any sort of other.
So yours is artistic mind
Mine was more of artistic, and
because of your family background, I think.
maybe, yeah. They have also encouraged us to pursue. So whenever I used to get leisure time, free time, I would end up, doing riyaz on my harmonium or tanpura. I remember my father used to wake me up early in the morning at 5 and he used to make me sit with tanpura. He is like, you sleep, but your string should not, stop. You should keep playing sapa because that's the musical note. Even sapa sa, I mean, that particular sound, if it goes in your ear, your Shruti knowledge will get enhanced. So these were the little nuances of upbringing, I always appreciate. And I think, though I always used to find myself alienated from the crowd, like, everybody's playing football or volley and this, why am I more passionate towards, learning music and this and that? And people would even judge you, because you are the odd man out, so they would even tease you at times.
True, you are playing with fine arts.
Yes, but lately I discovered, though I was alienated, but it has kind of helped me, with my maturity, when I started living alone, when I was in Bangalore, away from my home. A lot of people used to complain about homesickness.
Okay.
Thankfully, I never went into depression or homesickness. I think this music and dance, these were the things which kind of heals you, which kind of gives you a reason to just, devoid yourself or just divert yourself from getting into depression. Rather, you do some sort of, you just sing. You love singing. Why not just singing when you are alone or just feeling depressed? So I totally feel, co-curricular activities has to be there as a part of everyone's upbringing, because today's world, every kid, everybody complains about stress, mental stress.
Yes. Everybody is saying the stress.
So I would say, our civilization, our culture is blessed with such amazing traditions of learning music. So I think everybody should encourage their kids to go for, and specifically, traditional art forms, because these are therapeutic and these have been evolved through centuries, these have been researched by so many scholars, Rishimunis throughout time, and it certainly helps a person's lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's all. Then after my plus one, plus two, I pursued science because my parents wanted me to pursue medicine.
It's not your wish. Okay.
That's how I think most of the conventional families look up to their kids. I mean,
either medicine or engineering.
Medicine, engineering, lawyer ban jao ya fir professor ban jao. That's how, Bengali households are all about. I was good at chemistry and biology. I mean, I was very much interested in biology. So
that is related to nature. So that
maybe
the reason.
So my father always wanted me to become a doctor. Something to do with medicine. मेरा एक ही बच्चा है, वो डॉक्टर बनेगा. Sort of. Music नहीं छोड़ना है, but when it comes to profession, they never thought of कि I will end up taking fine arts. I will end up taking something creative as my profession. So coming from a middle class family, they always have thought of just not take too much risk.
Yes.
Go for a conventional medium, pursue medicine.
Settle life.
Yeah, pursue medicine, become a good doctor. You have reputation, you have everything, and I also sat for entrance examinations. I remember cracking BDS. So I was getting a college in West Bengal for my dental studies, but I wasn't interested.
You're not interested
The biggest fear, it wasn't the study aspect. The biggest fear was investing 5 years in the same college.
Yes, that's true.
That's when I told my parents that no, this is not my cup of tea. I won't be able to sustain 5 years doing one particular course.
Same college.
Yeah, rather I'll tried multiple mediums, being in a better place. And that college I wasn't fascinated with. So then my parents decided, okay, if you don't want to pursue BDS, what else? I was in a dilemma because I was good at cultural mediums. I was good at my academics
Yes.
also. And me coming from a suburb at that point of time, in 2008, when I passed out from school, like I completed my plus two, 2008, I wasn't that sure that, okay, how much prospect, how much, possibilities I would eventually get pursuing fashion design or textile design. That knowledge wasn't there.
Okay.
I mean, nobody was there as a mentor to even guide me through that, okay, these are also better mediums to excel in life.
Yes.
So I also wanted to play safe. I said, okay, I'll pursue something related to life science. I applied for many colleges everywhere. Then I found out about Bangalore University, that they were actually giving good courses and good combinations. So
Okay.
what fascinated
For
me was
graduation.
for graduation, for BSc programs. So what I found more interesting was the combination of biotechnology, biochemistry, and genetics, because I was interested in all this. So I said I'll pursue it. So I end up taking admission at Garden City College. I pursued 3 years BSc program in genetics. Then what happened while living alone in a hostel, me totally deprived of a joint family,
Yes, yes.
sort of an
Among
atmosphere.
staying.
Yeah, making new friends. I was delightful enough. I have made good friends very quickly, and all my
Friendly with
faculties.
everyone.
Probably. That's what people say. So, though it was my first time being away from home, but I never felt homesick. I enjoyed my moment the way it was. I tried finding out better options, okay, how to keep myself happy. So I pursued. What happened is, when I completed my fifth semester and I was in my final semester of graduation, that was the time when everybody decides what next. We will pass
Yes,
out
yes,
and
yes,
what to
yes,
pursue,
yes.
whether to do job, whether to
Ah,
pursue
continue
masters.
studies, yes.
Yeah. So campusing started, and I remember I got through Tata Consultancy Services. I mean, these were the companies which usually
Yes,
comes,
yes.
and they were like pharmaceutical companies, Cipla and other companies were there. So everybody was getting placed. I didn't sit for all this counseling. I just tried one or two, because our faculty forced us to go and sit for those. But
Are you a good student?
I was good. My core percentage was 86.
Okay.
So I would say good. I had interest, in academics. As I said, I always had interest in biology, something to do with life science. And so yeah, my mother was very convinced, and my mother was like always making her mind that, okay, my boy will do MTech or MSc, something of
She is
that
also
sort.
educated?
She is. She is. She reads books. I mean, she loves reading book. She is more into Sahitya.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Literature, okay.
yeah, literature. And what happened is, that's when I didn't tell my parents, because they were making the mind that I might try for MTech programs. I will give my entrance, because my best friend got through IISc,
Okay.
and she also cracked JNU, and she is pursuing. I think she is in her final year of PhD. She's about to submit her paper, and she was extremely good at her studies, and she cracked IISc. My parents also thought, okay, he also is trying. He also might be trying for IISc. Life will be sorted eventually. Doing MTech in life science, or just do a good job. But I didn't tell them anything. Without telling my parents, I sat for NIFT entrance examination.
Okay.
One day I just sat on my laptop. I downloaded the e-brochure, and I somehow made my mind at that point of time that, okay, life science is good, but when I visualized myself in a pharmaceutical, working on the labs and all, I said, no, this is not my cup of tea. Maybe I can study, I can, get good scores, but when it comes to profession, I won't be able to do it throughout my life.
Okay.
I'm more of a creative driven person. Let's explore something with creativity. And that's when textile came in mind, I mean, the evolvement of, that particular sensibility. And
That is self-born idea.
that is a self-born idea. I was more inclined towards craft always. Me being from Assam, I was all, surrounded with a lot of crafts.
Yes.
Weaving was a part of my life, I would say. I've always seen, weavers around my home since childhood. Tribal people, tribal
Yes,
communities
more
of
tribes
Assam, growing silkworms. So
Yes.
these were the things which are very fascinating to me, and I think I was very much, organically connected to craft, and that's when textile came in mind. And
Assam is the root.
it is also a harbor. It is the big. I think in India, it is the biggest producer of raw yarns.
Yes.
Say it's silk and raw silk, then muga. There are varieties of silk, like muga is also kind of that. Then jute, that entire belt, like say it Bengal, Assam, even Bangladesh, that entire belt is into, yarn making. Like best of the cottons and silk
Yes,
comes
Bengali
from that
cotton, yes.
region. So what happened is I went through that brochure of NIFT and I saw they were also allowing people to sat for the entrance who don't have a UG degree in fashion or textile.
Okay.
But if you have a fine arts degree or something related to creativity, you can apply for masters.
So that's a plus point for you.
Luckily, I had 8-year diploma of fine arts and I could apply for it. That was a plus point. Without even doing a UG, I was equivalent to, sit for my master entrance. And so I gave it. I cracked through. I was called for the second round. I went. Then when the final results came, I got 9th rank all over India in entrance. And, I had no excuse then. I have to tell my parents
Yes,
because
yes.
they have to come for my
Yes.
campusing
Yes.
and, all the administrative work they have to do. That's when I called up my father and told him, Baba, this is what has happened. And so major emotional drama was going on at home. My mother was totally opposing it. She was like, literally, I mean, blank that what has happened. Then why did you pursue life science? I mean, she couldn't match it, Maybe she was thinking I've wasted 3 years of my life doing something else and now I want to pursue something. That's when I told my father that, see, I have got 9th rank and, you never know. I'm also sitting for the scholarship. I might get, my entire education might get covered by government because NIFT is under Ministry of Textile.
Okay.
So that was also a kind of bribery, you can say, to my father that you won't have to even spend a penny for my further education. I will look after it. I mean, my father was supportive. Once I made him understood that what it is, and he also did his part of research about NIFT, and then he discovered that it is one of the premier institute of design, and creativity in India. And also it has actually placed a lot of good designers,
Yes,
and they're doing extremely well in that industry. So my father kind of, got convinced. He was like, okay, now you are like grown enough, you are like matured enough to take your own decision. You take, if you think this is your calling, go for it.
Okay.
And
left to you. Your life is left to you only.
Exactly. So a day before counseling, I flew from Bangalore to Delhi.
Okay.
Because that's where the campusing was, and my father flew from Assam to Delhi, and we met there. And initial moments was like I couldn't even face him because the cyclone, or whatever you say, the tornado was happening inside. That okay, well, I don't know how he's gonna react because I'm really I get scared of my father. But he was so cool, and I was like amazed seeing that expression. He was pretty cool about it. And he said, okay, where to go, how to go, what to do. He went, the first thing he did, he called a faculty member who was in the panel for campusing. I don't know what made him speak to that faculty. He just called him up. He said, this is what he has done. Now you educate me. You tell me what he's doing.
What he is doing.
I want to hear it from
He doesn't
you.
want to ask you.
Yeah, because I don't know. I have no idea about this field. So you are the one who should educate me. So I remember Ansar sir, who eventually became a very good faculty of mine. You can say mentor during the span of my education. And also now, he keeps encouraging and appreciates me. I mean, that was the person whom I met on the first day of my college. My father also, spoke to him, and he was the one who kind of convinced my father the best way, which I also couldn't do. And
That's good.
and I remember he pat me and he said, "Okay, well done. You have got a really good rank, and you are getting NIF Delhi." So, what?
In that aspect, you are really fortunate.
Yes, I was fortunate, you can say. I mean, I didn't have to deal with too many
Yes,
emotional
yes.
drama
Yes,
that way.
no emotional drama.
Yeah, I mean, or else it would have been very problematic for me to even convince them, because I also was very scared of what I'm doing to myself, whether I'll be, whether I've taken a good decision or not. So I was also, kind of
Dilemma.
challenging myself within. Taking risk, that okay, this is
Really, that is risk.
Yeah, it's
but
a
you
risk.
are fortunate. Now you are
I was
happy.
fortunate, and then I then my master degree started, and I literally enjoyed my curriculum and whatever.
What are the things you learn in that?
So
Post-graduation.
my specialization was traditional textile, and this is what I wanted to do. So they had sent me to NIFT Kannur, because Kerala has abundance of craft and textiles again.
Yes,
You can
yes.
actually explore culture. So I chose Kannur for a semester, and I went there and I did my module, like the kind of cluster programs they had designed within the curriculum. So it is more, our master program at NIFT was more research oriented.
Okay.
So that's when the passion for research and development, evolved within me. And even today, whatever I'm doing is all research oriented. I just can't approach a certain kind of a medium or, a product without doing a research of it.
That's true. And which type of fabric, that means you have to choose for your studies? Fabrics.
You are saying
Selection.
you are saying during my college.
Yes, in that PG.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a choice. They have selected some particular craft sector for us, and they have asked us, okay, these are the crafts. Maybe you can go observe it, do your own part of research, and document it.
Okay.
So, documentation was a major part, we have covered during my PG. And I remember my college took me to many craft cluster. Amongst those, one was Matani Pacheri cluster from Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
Okay.
It's a craft called Matani Pacheri. It's a nomadic art form.
Matani Pacheri.
Pacheri.
Okay.
So basically, Pacheri means a wall hanging sort of a thing, or maybe something like a chadar, which they would offer to the shrine, to the goddess, mother goddess.
Okay.
And it is a sacred textile for them. So they basically just paint a mother figure at the center. It's just like the mural of Shrikala, just like Shrikala Hasti Kalamkari.
Yes.
They would also do Sri Rama Pattabhishekam and other motifs in it. Similarly, this is dedicated to Mother Goddess.
Okay.
So they would mostly paint Bahuchari Mata and different forms of Mother Goddess in it, along with figuratives around the central motif, which will depict a certain folklore of that particular tradition. And just because these people were from a nomadic community, they are nomads. I mean,
yes, wonderful places.
Yeah. So earlier they had a tradition of shifting places.
Yes.
So they would travel. So this canopy, this particular chadar, would serve the purpose of a mobile shrine for them.
Okay.
Because they can't carry heavy weight, any vigraha. So they would just they would fold this chadar wherever they go, settle down. They would hang it and they will worship her.
That is the publicity.
That is how this tradition evolved. And basically it's a hand painted technique. So whatever they do is totally with hand technique. It is hand illustrated, and the filling of the color is also with natural pigments.
Okay.
So they extract colors from several natural sources like madder, indigo, haldi, harada, blah blah blah. So
That vegetable dyes.
vegetable dyes. So the tradition is very coinciding. I mean, the tradition of Masulipatnam or Kalamkari, Shikalahasti.
Yes, yes.
So many people also say Matani Pachidi is Gujarat ki kalamkari.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because everybody resonates kalamkari with Andhra, but this is a Gujarat based, kalamkari art technique. But the drawback and the major lack of sustainability of this craft was it is practiced only within a very tiny group of like people. There were hardly 12 to 13 families
Okay.
who at present are practicing this art form, and it has also get deteriorated with time. The technique have got manipulated into screen prints, digital prints to make it much cheaper, because once they prepare a hand painted textile, the cost gets higher.
Too costly.
Yes. So they have to understand the sustainability aspect of retaining a craft, the spirit of craft. So diversification has to happen. Like kalamkari, when we talk about Andhra kalamkari, it used to be a sacred textile again. It has started to paint murals and for temple occasions like utsavas. But later people have adopted this art form and started making wearable textile. So now we see kalamkari on saris and dupattas,
Yes,
and apparels,
yes.
whatnot,
Yes.
upholstery. So that's how they could retain or sustain this particular art form, because now it is accessible in various forms and fulfilling needs of many kind of people.
Yes, yes.
Whoever has whatever need, they can go for that particular product. Matani Pachiri, this was the drawback with the particular technique. They weren't practicing this sacred art in
Okay.
any other medium apart from that canopy, what they
Oh,
used to design for the mother goddess. And it is only been used in the temple. And after that, the purpose isn't there. Like, very few people would buy a canopy just for a day's sake, on the festival
keep it in
day.
the box.
They'll keep it, and or maybe it gets dusted, hanging on the wall. So, me and 4 of other students, like we were been sent as a team, and we did a sustainable study. We tried to cover all the 4 pillars of sustainability to retain this particular art form, how it has been practices, what are the challenges these people are facing that they are leaving the craft and going for other occupation.
Okay.
So we actually did a psychography and demography study of that particular community, that what is the kind of lifestyle they live and why it is so essential for them to come back to this particular tradition. And we also tried sustaining it by creating a collection which was to do with the diversification of this craft. So I introduced the thought of designing saris
Okay. In that pattern.
using that particular
Yes, yes.
craft. Then we did some hankies, tiny hankies. We tried exploring multiple mediums to sustain this craft. And
Did they agree to do like this? That
they did.
particular,
I could convince one person, Manubhai Chitara. He was a national awardee. He got a national award for Matani Pachiri art, and he was one of the pioneer of that particular community who still is practicing this art form. Though Manubhai Chitara is no more, he passed away, and his son is taking the legacy forward. So I'm working with him, and they're extremely good artists. It's just they were little underrated at that point of time. But now they're doing extremely good because they've got an idea
Yes.
that this
Yes.
is the way we can sustain. And we, the students of NIFT, we tried documenting the entire Matani Pacheri tradition. We have wrote about it, we have hand illustrated, we have photographed, we have made films.
And I thought that you have designed so many saris.
Yeah.
And you design for boys also, and now only saris.
Yeah, I do traditional wear for guys also. I have plans to launch my men's line very soon.
Okay.
But I started majorly with saris because I'm more, as I said, I'm more into traditional textiles.
Yes. Did you remember your first sari design?
Yeah, I do. The first sari I did was this Matani Pacheri on a
Okay.
khadi.
Okay.
So it
You
was-
khadi silk or khadi cotton?
It was a khadi cotton,
Okay.
cotton by cotton, and it was a 320 count cotton sari on which I got this vegetable painting done using that Matani Pachiri technique. So it was a capsule collection. Then I did my dissertation project with Gaurang Shah. He is a very renowned textile designer in India, and he is based in Hyderabad. Luckily, that's how I came to Hyderabad, and I fell in love with the city.
Okay.
And so
You like Hyderabad?
I love Hyderabad.
Okay. Hyderabad in Nawab system also, you do like dressing?
I love the attire. So that's what, like,
Okay,
I
yes.
totally feel, with urbanization, Hyderabad has the perfect balance of history and
Yes.
modernity. It's such a young city opening up, and a lot of urbanization is happening. People are coming in, and the city is opening up basically to a wider spectrum. This is what I enjoy about Hyderabad. I would say it's laid back in a very good way. People are warm-hearted.
Okay.
Yeah, there is no much rush happening compared to Delhi and Bombay.
Yes.
It feels like as if everybody is computerized, and it's so mechanical. Hyderabad has retained that soul. I feel people are still very warm and well connected. I feel it's accessible within the access. Everybody is kind of living
Okay.
in this particular city. So
Did you design that saree for anybody or just for your sake? First.
this was for my sake. Yeah, this was like a capsule collection which I did as a craft cluster documentation project when I was in college. Then I came to Gaurang because he sponsored my final dissertation project when I was in my fourth semester PG, and that's when I have learned a lot of Jamdani aspects of weaving, and I explored multiple mediums of Jamdani through his work, through Gaurang's work. So I was in Srikakulam
Okay.
because that's where the entire Khadi cluster is. They are into Khadi Jamdani weaving. So I've lived with the weavers. I've lived in the weaving villages, understanding the nuances of that particular craft. How they do it, learned it. I did a documentation. I made my own capsule collection.
Is there any tribal designing in Srikakulam?
Tribal design?
Did you see anything?
No,
I'm
maybe there are communities in and around, but though it's a coastal land, it's a coastal town. Mostly people were into cotton
Yes.
and khadi. Majorly, I saw khadi weavers. I was in a village which was entirely dedicated to a community, the Lingayat community, who are into khadi weaving.
Is it Ponduru?
No, it's called Alikam. There was a
Alikam,
village, yeah, little interior to the city, I mean, Srikakulam town. So, I mean, it was really very, kind-hearted, as in it was very enriching experience
Okay.
for me.
Yes.
I've never lived in a South Indian village, being a Bengali boy coming from, Assam. I've lived in Bangalore, that's a city. Yeah, absolutely. So, living in the urban society also creates a lot of gap, when you actually go in the villages and live there for a long run. So I always used to wake up, early in the morning with the rhythmic aspect of the loom. Thak, thak,
Yes,
thak,
yes,
thak, thak,
yes.
thak. So I would wake up with that sound,
There's
and it was
music
so
in the
rhythmic.
drums.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, life was so beautiful, I feel. These are the things which we need to reinculcate in our lifestyle. I mean, that's why this very notion of, going back to the roots have started. Because the more we are chasing the urban lifestyle or the modern or the so conceived civilized way of living, the more we are going away from our soul. And I think me being a textile designer of my generation, because I see mostly designers of my league are majorly exploring, like fashion oriented garments.
Yes.
Which is and chasing glamour. So there has to be people who are also connected to the roots, to the soul of the tradition. So I chose to become a textile designer, and I proudly say that I'm Desi. I'm very connected to
Yes, yes.
I'm very connected to our own style of living, ancestral style of living. sensitized to our own culture and tradition. And maybe my viewers, whoever is my client, whoever is a buyer of label Souravdas.
You are designing for any textile industries, or you are designing for your own?
No, recently I have got an offer from Aditya Birla Group to design a sari collection for them. So it is kind of, in progress.
Okay.
So once it finalized, I will be doing a project for them as well. Because I've just started a year back. So I mean, it's a startup entrepreneurship, you can say. I'm still focusing on my branding because I've just started a year back.
Did you put any name for your brand?
Yeah, it's called Label Souravdas.
Label Souravdas.
Yes.
Okay.
I have an Instagram page with this certain name, Label Souravdas, and you can see the kind of collections I have done so far.
Yes. You designed for some actress.
Yeah, I have. Though they are like traditionally woven, all handloom pieces, but still has a modern appeal to it. You can say it's contemporary. It has the zeitgeist of the time.
Yes.
A perfect blend of modernity with traditionality. So yeah, I was very happy dressing up Vidya Balan.
Okay.
So she,
First salary to Vidya Balan, or first
yeah,
salary to
she
any
was the
other?
first actress to wear my sari.
How did you approach her?
So there is a styling brand called Who Wore What When, who dresses up Vidya Balan, and so they approached me because I was already friends with. I knew them, being with the industry because I've worked with Sabyasachi earlier as a senior design associate.
Yes.
So they have liked that sari and they approached me if I can send that sari to her. And she wore that sari for one of her movie promotion.
Which fabric that is and what is the design on
Okay,
that
so
sari?
even that was a very new technique which I have, explored. It is called a four pedal technique, where you actually give sari a very satiny, lustrous texture, and it has a very good drapability. When you drape, it falls on your body very well. This is what this is where my expertise and my understanding of weaving comes in, because most of the saris what I see in the market, I find them very opaque and non-breathable because they don't fall on your body. This is the kind of style of weaving which has become very popular, and everybody has been doing it left, right, center. I think this has to be this has to be stopped, and people have to go back to that particular understanding of drapability, that saris also has to be breathable, or any fabric, say
That's true.
when you drape it on your body, they also need air to pass through. That's when it looks beautiful. It falls on your body, it accentuates your body type. And so these are the things, these are the techniques, because even today when we go to the museums, if we see some old archival pieces, our grandma's sari, our like our grandmother's saris, saris which are like 30-40 years old from our mother's wardrobe, those saris had such amazing texture and drapability. And nowadays, whatever you get to see, power loom and even hand loom, which are very opaque. I mean, so these are the things which I want to revive and recreate. That's where my research comes in. So this sari what I designed for Vidya Balan was a 4-pedal sari, a breathable sari, and the yarns what I have used is a blend of matka with kala cotton, and I've also applied zari, because nobody has worked kala cotton with zari. They always do kala cotton thread on thread. They have never implemented zari earlier. Traditionally it never happens, but I tried exploring even zari with kala cotton and matka medium.
It is gold zari or tested zari?
Gold zari, yeah. So tested, of course, it can't be a real gold for that particular sari what I did, but I do real gold saris as well. All my revival Banarasis, all my high-end Banarasis are made of hand-beaten patua zaris. And I just don't procure my zaris out of the shelf, the Surat ones which you get in the market. I work with the traditional zari makers who have a traditional way of making zari by hand
How
beating
do you
technique
select
and
those
all.
persons, zari persons?
Again, research.
Okay,
The more you go in depth, the more you read about. See, you have to also enrich yourself with enough of available sources, research papers. Then there are thousands of books on textiles and crafts of India. How many people read them?
Yes.
Apart from the scholars, and whoever reads them, they end up writing a lot. They end up publishing more of academic papers. But I talk about like textile designer. I mean, this generation, and I totally adore Rahul Jain sir, Mapu, Rita Kapoor Chisti. These were the pioneers who have given the textile tradition of India a different face altogether. They have created that perfect balance of uh, taking up, traditional handicrafts and making them modern and, accessible, educate the modern crowd that this is what you should wear.
Okay.
So I totally look up on them, and, they are my big time inspiration. Rahul Jain sir is my mentor, and whatever work I have started doing in Banaras is all because of him, because he has helped me out through. And so, yeah, as I said, like academically also, you have to keep studying. You have to,
That's true.
read about the history, read about historical garments, historical techniques, how looms used to be. You should have an eye for, texture. You should have an
Yes.
eye for old products.
Yes.
Like, go see archivals, go see archives, go visit museums often. Try to feel the texture,
Designs.
how the fabrics used to be, why it was exclusive, why they are today hanging in the museum.
Yes, yes.
And
Another
today,
yes.
and today the fabric we buy after 2-3 wear, after 2-3 months they become pocha.
Yes.
We feel like throwing it off, or maybe resell or give it to somebody. But these were the things which has to be cherished. They have actually preserved those saris like a piece of jewel.
Yes.
So,
That's-
the older generation has always believed in creating heirloom pieces so that a mother can pass that sari to
Sari
her
to her
daughter
daughter.
or daughter-in-law.
For 3 generations.
But that tradition, that spirit of creating handloom, or that I mean, how to say, that entire practice has got diminished with time. So these are the things which has always fascinated me, and I really want to recreate this value system again. And whatever I am making is all textiles. I'm reviving charkhanas in Banarasi. So
What is her feeling, Vidyabalan's feeling after looking to your saree?
she loved it. She just
Did you
loved
meet
it.
her?
I haven't met her, but she has messaged me saying that thank you for the amazing sari. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, she has sent me a note, and this was kind of an achievement, I would say.
That's true. After that,
Recently, I designed a charkhana weave in Banarasi.
Tarkhana means?
Again,
I don't know.
so charkhana, it comes from char, like a square. So usually people perceive Banarasis to be, very curvy, like
Okay.
which has more of curvy motifs, more of jals and figuratives in it. But earlier in olden times, even a lot of geometric motifs, a lot of linear motifs used to be there in Banarasi. But with time, people have stopped, practicing that particular craft because it was more to do with geometry, counting yarns, and there is a certain kind of, weaving nuance which they follow. And very few people today make, charkhanas, and not few, I would say nobody is making. I haven't seen it in present market. I've done enough research. Somehow I could find out a old charkhana piece, a safa from an antique collector.
Okay.
I bought it and I fell in love with it, and that was my kind of challenge. I made it in my mind that no, I have to revive this particular technique. No matter what, I'll go to Banaras. I'll find out the perfect person. Master craftsman who would understand what it is actually. And I remember when I took it to my weaver, and when he saw that piece for the first time, he fell in love. He was like, आपने मुझे बचपन की याद दिला दी. He himself is so old and he said मेरे दादाजी ऐसे कपड़े बुना करते थे. Yeah, so it was pretty old and so he also felt the importance and the love for antique textiles at that point of time, that these are just not a piece of cloth, these are memories, these are a legacy of many generations which has been passed through. So he kind of deja vu happened, as if he started explaining me these were the kind of fabrics which 50 years back I have seen my grandfather weaving when I was a kid. And I'm so glad you have got an access to such a piece. I'm like, yeah, this is what you also have to make. And that's when I tried doing the design layout, sitting with him. We did the entire punching and whatever.
In Hyderabad only?
No, in Banaras.
Banaras only. Okay.
I travel because I go to multiple clusters. I go to Chandevi, I go to Maheshwar, I go to Banaras because I have my weavers there. That's where the setup is. Primary setup is all there. I have weavers working for me.
Okay.
Here I'm mostly managing the brand aspect, like the marketing and the management aspect of it. But the production is entirely happening in the grassroots.
Oh.
I'm directly working with them. I have my looms there.
And how did you approach Shobhana for this saree to wear?
Okay, so again, Shobhana's stylist has approached, and I should not say it, but he had two options. He also has called for a raw mango sari, which is a very premier brand, and my sari. He called for one sari from me, so I had sent it to Shobhana. But Shobhana chose mine over raw mango.
Oh.
I mean, that was kind of an achievement. I really fell in love, and then not only like just wearing the sari, she personally wanted to meet me, and
Okay,
she said,
that's
because Saima happened in Hyderabad, and
Yes.
she got to know that I'm also based in Hyderabad. She invited me. She has said, you have to be with me throughout the event and dress me up whatever way you wish to. And she also wanted to talk to me because she got to know that I'm a dancer too, and I was also into
dancer?
dance. Yeah, ODC, I said. I have learned ODC, yeah, for a little span of time. But yeah, I read a lot, about all these traditions, eight music or dance. So, and then it was a very good bonding, I never felt that as if we are meeting for the first time. It was
Yes.
like, two people talking, and I could totally get her sense of humor too, the kind of joke she was creating. We were laughing, and it was a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed that evening with her. Warm soul, and such a true, connoisseur of art and epitome of grace. The way she was carrying the sari,
Okay.
I really doubt anybody could ever. And
So you are very happy.
I'm very happy. The pictures and her presence was so vibrant, so radiant. And there are other actresses. Malavika Mohanam, she
Yes.
wore my sari, which are yet to get launched. She wore it for the festives, like
Okay.
for the festive season. And Kirti Suresh recently did a camping wearing one of my Mughal Banarasi
Mughal Banaras.
for
Mughal tradition completely.
exactly. So I'm also reviving Mughal patkas into saris. The old ancient technique of weft interlocking, using Meena threads.
Yes.
So those are the techniques. If you go through my Instagram page, you will get to see all the collections what I have done so far, and these patkas are also there. And people, what I have discovered after doing 2-3 exhibitions and pop-ups, the kind of clients I have are very niche.
Okay.
They just don't go to every store or every buyer, but they have a very peculiar and sense of color, and they're very precise and particular about what they want. They're not confused buyers. This is what I like about my clientele. I mean, when you do your own setup, when you do your own branding, it is your self-learning as well. With time, you actually do a psychography, demographic study of, what are the kind of people who are coming to you, appreciating your work. You can self-analyze and,
That's true. Yes.
retro-inspect yourself.
And will they ask for particular material? If they,
Yeah,
they want saree from you? will they
Yeah,
ask
I
for-
mean, first of all, whoever is a connoisseur of purity. They would come because they know it's a handloom product. Everything I do is with hand. So much of labor, so much of time has gone
It will
through.
be, I think, too costly also.
Comparatively, when what you get in the market, it has to be a little costly, not that costly, I would say. Again, price is again subjective, ma'am.
Yes, yes, just no. Out of
pay
interest, I am asking. Out of curiosity.
no, exactly. So you always value or analyze the price by the kind of product you are getting. If it's an authentic product and if you have a buyer, they would buy it.
Yes,
If they are really looking for an authentic product, they would definitely buy, because one who understands fabrics, one who understands zari, one who understands handloom,
Yes, and they should have the passion also.
the kind of design exploration has happened. What is different, which is make this particular piece, exceptional from others. Single piece.
Yes.
And also people get driven to my colors, because most of the queries I get are because of the colors I do.
Okay.
I remember when I used to travel earlier to Banaras, I've met a very old weaver, and these were the words he uttered, like Rang Raja, Pot Praja, Bhant Dasi, and these were the like phrases which.
Please repeat this, Rang Raja.
So he said Rang Raja, Pot Praja, Bhant Dasi. I'll explain what it means.
Okay.
So this got encapsulated in my mind, and it was such a learning, like such easily he said it. So he said Rang Raja. So he said Rang, the color of a fabric, of a sari or whatever, is always the Raja.
Yes.
Like the first priority you should give always on the color.
Color.
The color has to be right. Then comes Pot Praja. Like Pot is the yarn or the material or the fabric, yarn, raw material, whatever you're using. That comes next. Then you have to look on the quality of the fabric or
First
the
color and fabric.
yeah, what you are using. It has to feel good to your body. First is color. Everybody gets attracted to the color first.
Yes.
They come, they touch the fabric, they see what is the quality of it.
After first color selection,
So that is secondary, and tertiary. What comes in the last is Bhant Dasi. So Bhant is like a Dasi. Bhant is the motif. He said motif is very secondary, Doesn't matter if the sari has loaded work or, motifs happening all over. That becomes very secondary. If your color and products, if the quality of the fabric is rich. So, these were the words which created a lot of impact. So, I think I also started chasing minimalism. I always think less is more, because, more you do on a single garment, things become tacky. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. So, I always derive my inspiration from Ravi Verma paintings, Dhurandhar's paintings, all the classical paintings of, of this particular land. Or Europe, the colony paintings. Then Bengal also has a legacy of, Surendranath Tagore's, Abanindranath Tagore's painting. Then
I heard that one person, fashion designer, did made the sarees with Ravi Verma paintings, complete paintings on the
Gaurang, that was Gaurang whom I worked with.
Okay. I don't know the
So
name.
Gaurang basically have died. So he had a collaboration with Ravi Verma Foundation with Maharani, the Princess Lakshmi Bai from Travancore. So she and Gaurang collaborated, and they have dyed around 170 shades in vegetable colors, and they recreated those paintings by weaving.
And who are the other famous persons who designed the sarees for?
There are lots. Some of the royalties from Jaipur have bought my saris.
Royal families.
Royal families, Jodhpur royal family, Udaipur royal family.
Did you meet them?
Yeah, few I have met. Few have approached me through word of mouth, because some have bought initially and they eventually wear it for a common function, And some of the other royal ladies also might have liked their saris.
Okay.
And that's how they contacted me. They must have taken my number. And that's how, also Radhika Raje, the Maharani of Gaikwad family, Vadodara royal family.
Vasundhara Raje family.
No, not Vasundhara. They are Shindias. They are from Gwalior.
Okay.
This is from Vadodara, the Gaikwad Marathas. So Radhika Raje has also spoke about me, and she loves my design. We oftenly chat, and she kind of always gives me encouragement because she adores my work as well. And Meenal Dev Singh, she's from the Odisha royal family, Dhanikal royal family. She has also recently bought
All
a
royal
saree.
families you are approaching. Out of curiosity, I am asking, just not for other thing. How much will be the cost of the saree usually for these royal families?
I do very humble saris. See, royal family, they are even very aristocratic. It's just not the royalty thing, but when it comes to culture, they are very like sensitive and very wise. I feel. I mean, they do value money. They just don't spend luxuriously on lakhs and lakhs. And my products are not of that range. Like 6,000, 7,000 it starts.
Okay.
And
Not too expensive, I think.
it max goes up to 60 to 70K so far. This is the kind of range I'm doing
I
so
thought
far.
it will be 2 to 3 lakhs like that. I thought so.
I'm very humble, I told you. Like, I'm directly working with the grassroots, with weavers. So this is the kind of price point I've maintained so far. And even the kind of pieces royalties would approach for are very basic, classy. Because if you have seen the portraits of Maharani Gayatri Devi, she has worn the basic of those, chiffon, nice printed chiffon or georgettes.
Yes.
Just a minimal thing, because their persona speaks so much about their wisdom, and they don't need too much around. So that is what my brand ideology is, that less is more. Like, I do things which are very minimalistic and very classy and aristocratic, makes you look very sophisticated. I don't believe in doing too much work in just one sari.
And what about Amala? You did saree for one. Amala also.
Yes. Yeah, I'm very fond of Amala ma'am. I mean, her persona, she's so graceful. And so I was doing a collaborative project with Shravan Ramaswamy. He is also a Hyderabad-based designer. So we have traveled to Ahmedabad, and we worked on this particular project to revive Matani Pachedi into apparels. So that's when we designed few saris, and Amala was one of the first muse who appreciated, and she loved my work. She loved those designs, and she bought 4 saris, I remember, because she is also vegan by nature, and
Yes.
she totally supports. So yeah, I've met Amla ma'am in 2015, and I mean, I really adore her. She's so graceful, and she's so humble and so graceful. And I was doing a project with Shravan Ramaswamy. He is a Hyderabad-based designer as well. So we were working on this craft, Matani Pachedi. We were trying to revive and reintroduce this particular technique into apparels. So that's when I have made few saris, and Amla ma'am really loved those creations, and she appreciated my work. She bought like 3-4 saris, and she even wore one of the rare pieces for a major event, I remember. And then we always used to bump in many cultural events, because she also used to be a dancer.
Yes.
And I was also connected with Spikmeke, so we have also met at many Spikmeke events, cultural events. I would love to design for her. I'm actually planning something in future.
And did you have any fashion shows?
I've done a lot of pop-ups. I've done craft council exhibitions so far. I haven't done like ramp walks and all
Yes.
yet. That's the kind of show you are talking about.
Yes.
But no, ramp I haven't done yet. I think it's a long way to go. I'm not prepared yet. I want to there are a lot of democratic platforms like Lakme. There is Khadi India.
Yes.
They also do shows. I'm planning for it slowly, steadily, because I just don't want to do it in rush, because just now I think the market has recovered and people have come out of this COVID
Yes.
trauma, and everything is getting normalized slowly. So I think, yeah, I mean, these things are also on the way to come, and I'm planning for it. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have your own models? You have to pick up or
My muse is what I feel. The word model is just not, subjective, or, just not only limited to a girl who is 6 feet tall with a zero size,
Okay.
stature.
Okay.
I feel being a model has to have that connect with the kind of product she is modeling for.
Yes, that's
What, and the kind of products I'm doing is all handloom oriented, and it speaks about culture, it speaks about art and heritage. So I always believe in getting them modeled by the real time connoisseurs, the real time art lovers or maestros. So most of my saris, my guru has worn, Bijoni Satapathy. She is one of the finest ODC exponent, you can say. She is an international artist. Recently, Arushi Mudgal, niece of Madhavi Mudgal and daughter of Madhuk Mudgal, who have actually started the Gandharva Mahavidyalaya in Delhi.
Yes,
They have worn my sari and they have really appreciated. So I always believe in getting my saris modeled by the real art lovers who actually wear these pieces in their daily life, and feel connected to certain product. You have to relate with the kind of product you are wearing or using.
And they should have a respect to that saree.
Absolutely. I think when it comes to textile, when it comes to real-time textile, and something which is associated to heritage and tradition, I think they should be the muse and ambassadors to promote such things. Like, we have musicians, we have artists, we have so many dancers, classical. I mean, I'm talking about classical genre.
Yes.
And just not getting them modeled by professional models.
Yes. That's good, I think.
Yeah, they are good. Of course, they are good, but
Maybe,
but the
but-
language also needs to be changed.
Yes.
There is a lot of monotony happening in the
That's true,
market,
that's true.
which I think a lot of other homegrown brands are also breaking. A lot of androgynous models are coming in picture. A lot of gender fluid people are getting into the picture. That is also, I think, a kind of a revolution.
Yes.
Yeah.
There should be revolution in there.
Yes.
One thing I want to ask you that I think we heard about the artist Bapu, Telugu artist.
Okay. Bapu Bommali?
Yes, Bapu Bommali.
Okay.
Do you want to put any pictures on your sarees of Bapu Bommali?
I would love to explore. Just not putting
Because
the pictures.
what I want to say is he wrote all the Ramayana
Yes.
and Mahabharata. Everything he wrote.
Yeah.
He painted. That means
Painted.
everything related to Indian tradition and our Puranas, Ramayana, Mahabharatam. And each and everywhere his diagrams are there on calendars. On diaries,
On wedding cards.
on
I've
wedding
seen.
cards and on cups
Yes.
also,
Okay,
teacups.
okay.
That means those are very limited.
What I love about his style of painting, the iconography,
Yes,
the curvy
iconography,
patterns, it is so, I think, it is very
And lively.
Andhra and Dravidian.
Yes.
At the same time, it has a very beautiful touch of Patachitra to it.
Yes, that
Because Odisha, Andhra, this
Yes.
entire belt. So I totally love his style of painting, and I wish if I ever get a chance to explore kalamkari, I would try to reinterpret his
Yes,
style
yes.
of art in traditional kalamkari,
in one of
paying
his
him a tribute.
in one of his films, he designed a saree. Bapu designed a saree with that rangoli of Telugu traditional
Wow.
dots and connections. So that is a special saree in that movie that is called Pelli Pustakam.
Oh, wonderful.
That is wedding book.
Yeah.
The meaning for that is Pelli Pustakam means wedding book. That is the name of the movie.
And nowadays, I think taking inspiration from him only, a lot of brands are making such sarees
Yes,
with
yes.
rangoli
Yes,
designs.
rangoli on the saree he put
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So like that, do you want to create any new brand?
I would love to. I'm already exploring a lot
Yes,
of textile
That
techniques.
means this Rangoli is completely traditional.
Okay, okay.
of normal families.
Yeah.
So, do you want to put like that means do you want to create such type of traditional small villages tradition
Why not?
under the sarees?
I would love to. Actually, something is coming up on the way. I'm already planning my tag out of a very humble craft. So, yeah, I will definitely diversify crafts and, make a bridge between, connecting communities together.
Yes.
So this is definitely I would love to do, and I think my entire vision lies there. I want to work in communities, build up communities
Yes.
together.
And a memorable incidents in your life, in this entire fashion designing life,
Okay,
not your personal life,
I understand.
fashion designing journey.
Yes, I mean people whom I have always dreamt of dressing up, like Shobana and Tabu is in my bucket list.
Okay.
I will be very much fortunate if I ever get a chance to dress up Rekha and Tabu. I mean, I adore them. So, I have end up meeting people and I am personally connected to them now. Some have become friends. And there was a time when I always used to, think of them that they are so big, they are like celebrities, and
Yes.
and they are like, the kind of people I have adored. I love their work. And today we talk over call, like, so these are the memorable things I feel. And also, one of the finest memory I want to cherish is when I met Sabyasachi and I worked with him. Because me being a like a design student getting graduated from a college, it was like a dream come true working with such a prestigious brand and learning with him. It was quite a learning, and also with time the kind of conviction Pepsi, like we call him
Yes.
Pepsi. So Sabya would show to the kind of responsibility he thinks that you are capable enough to look after it. That also has given me a lot of confidence that okay, maybe I'm capable enough to run this or do good in life.
Yes.
So with his mentorship, I have told you like I have Rahul Jain sir is my mentor. So in college, we used to read books written by him. He used to be the author. So all the finest of the textile books, what NIFT would prescribe, and also national libraries you go. When you check out the textile section, you will see thousands of books written by Rahul Jain sir. So he used to be the author whose books we would study, and later, like I met him personally, and he became my mentor in real life. And
That's great.
we just chat, we talk, we discuss about art and culture and whatnot. We oftenly keep texting each other. So these are the kind of incidents, and I would say achievement, because I have made such amazing friends. I've met such amazing people in life, and made connections with them. Making connection with you, met you for the first time, but never felt that I have met I have met you for the first time.
Thank you.
So I totally believe in the warmth of human relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, and these are the kind of achievements I totally acknowledge.
That's good. And do you design your dress?
I do design most of the ethnics I wear. I mostly wear ethnics, more of dhotis. Today also I'm wearing one.
Yes.
So it's a Bengal dhoti, khadi dhoti. So I do I wear my mom's sari, my grandmom's sari, and I drape them as dhotis.
Okay.
I've been doing this since time immemorial, I can say. So I mean, since childhood, I've been wearing their saris as dhotis, because I always used to adopt textiles. Because I've always seen my mother wearing only weaves. I've never seen her wearing a blingy sari with sequins hanging here and there, flashing from far. She always wore subdued, hand woven saris from everywhere. Like she would have a Tangail sari, she would have a Sambalpuri sari, Bomkai, Kanjivaram, Gadwal, this and that. And I think from there, the passion to study
That's true.
textile has come in me, because she would educate me saying that ये संबलपुरी है, ये कांचीपुरम है, ये बनारसी है. So that visual became so strong that by seeing a sari, I could identify, okay, this is from this particular region.
So your mother is your first guru.
Absolutely, I totally give my mother and my chachi. Oh my God, my chachi is another big time connoisseur. She revamps her wardrobe, I think, every 2 years. She keeps collecting saris, and then she has no place to keep them more. So she would just give it off.
She has to replace.
She does that. So that is her investment. She always tell, like, I don't want a bigger mention. I don't want jewelry, this and that. I enjoy buying sarees, wearing sarees.
That gives you happiness.
Yeah, that's her way of celebrating weaves. So I feel my primary education started at home. And also my English teacher. Also my English teacher. I was so fond of her because she my school teacher, I mean, and she used to be one of the best teacher I've ever had, and she also would wear one sari every day, and I always used to think, okay, when she's gonna repeat this saris next, and you'll end up thinking, because I've always seen her wearing different saris. So these are the kind of experiences which creates a lot of curiosity and interest in such topics.
Encouragement will give you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I cut my mom's sari. My grandmom is no more, and she has left a lot of beautiful textiles for me because I said, you guys take. I have told my parents and my uncle and aunts that take whatever you guys want to, but leave all the saris for me. I don't mind even taking her torn and tattered saris.
Granddaughters will take, but here grandson is taking.
And her granddaughters are least bothered about taking her saris because
there's plus to you.
Yeah, they mostly wear jeans and trousers and least bothered, non-dressy people. So my cousin sister, like I have only 2 sisters and rest are mostly brothers. So one is very young to wear a sari, and the other one, she's into aeronautics and she's least bothered about, sari. She would just wear a nice...
So that's good enough to you.
Yeah, I am the most, tasteful, I would say, in my family to understand all these things and appreciate. So I've even taken all her torn and tattered saris, cut them, made kurtas out of it. So I do that. Recycling, upcycling, I would say, not recycling. It's like such old pieces. So I've cut a lot of white saris, made white kurtas, angarakhas. So I keep doing it and I enjoy. I've also inspired a lot of guys, I think, wearing angarakhas and dhotis. A lot of my friends have started wearing recently after seeing me. And they totally feel like, it's a very cool way of dressing up.
So you don't like to wear jeans and other things?
I do wear. I think I do justice with whatever I wear. You have to have that sense of styling, like how to pair up, what to wear with what, and so when I have to wear whatever, I can just wear a nice shorts and roam at the beach, and I also wear traditional. I also wear casuals and jeans, formals. Yeah.
Finally, I want to ask you some silly question. I think.
No, it's okay.
Are you fond of growing hair by looking to Tagore or by yourself?
Obviously, I adore Tagore, but this inspiration, no, it hasn't come from anybody. I have just stopped. I've just stopped going for a haircut during my final semester of PG, and I think that's when I started, loving my hair, because once I started growing them, because I was so much into just work and studies and this and that, I was least bothered about hair. So I felt like growing them up, and once I get a little length, I started noticing beautiful curls in them. So I was like, okay, my hair is gonna be curly, so let's keep it. So yeah.
You want to design for male celebrities? Or anybody?
Yeah, whoever appreciates wearing handloom and textiles and could relate to the sensibility of my brand has to have aesthetics. I totally adore Nagarjuna, the way he dresses up.
That I want to say.
Yeah, the way he dresses up at this age. I mean, oh my God.
Yes.
He can give a tough competition to even the youngsters.
Yes, that's true.
He's
always looking young and at new collections.
True that. It's always about, art appreciation, I feel. Whoever loves dressing up, I would love to dress them up.
That's good. And all the best to your future plans also.
Thank you so much.
And very, very happy to talk to you. We became so young by talking to you because your words are young.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you so much.
సౌరవ్ ఇంగ్లీష్లో మాట్లాడింది కొంచెం అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి ప్రయత్నించండి. అయితే తను ఎలాంటి బట్టలు డిజైన్ చేస్తున్నాడు, ఎవరెవరికి అమలా, కీర్తి సురేష్, శోభన, విద్యా బాలన్ వీళ్ళందరికీ చేస్తూ నాగార్జున గారు లాంటి వాళ్ళకు కూడా చెయ్యాలి అనే తన ఆలోచన చెప్తున్నారు. ఫ్యాషన్ డిజైనింగ్లో అంటే తను ఏదో కొత్తగా చేయకుండా మనకు ఉన్న పాత సంప్రదాయం దాన్ని కొత్తగా చూపిస్తూ, పాత డిజైన్లనే కొత్తగా చూపిస్తూ, సంప్రదాయానికి పెద్దపీట వేస్తూ, గిరిజనుల దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళడం, వాళ్ళ దగ్గర ఉండేటువంటి అంటే అప్పటి పరిస్థితుల్లో వాళ్ళు ఎలాంటి డిజైన్లు చేసేవారు వాటిని అన్నిటి మన మచిలీపట్నంలో కలంకారీ చెప్పుకున్నట్టుగానే రకరకాల డిజైన్లను అన్నీ తీసుకొచ్చి వాటిని తనకు డిజైన్ చేయడం తన కోరిక అంటున్నాడు. అంటే ఫ్యాషన్ డిజైనింగ్లోకి వెళ్ళడం అంటే ఏదో సరదాగా కాకుండా మన భారతీయ సంప్రదాయాన్ని నిలబెట్టడమే తన లక్ష్యంగా చెప్తున్నాడు సౌరవ్దాస్. ఇది ఈరోజు వైజయంతితో మాటామంతి కార్యక్రమం. నమస్కారం.